Hey, all, how's it going? So yesterday was a bank holiday, so we kind of had this session right here, this small session, and I was trying to see if the overnight highs and lows would fit off of it, but it really didn't. It fit better just the regular way. Because this is the overnight high, overnight lows are down here. I was trying to drag them up to these other swings and see how they react, but it really fit pretty good off of here. We got these bounces, so I just left it here. But this short right here, I think looks pretty good, but it is shorting pretty low into this move, and you could expect another attempt higher, but we are successfully fading. It's holding back below the EMA. If it was going to successfully break out, it would have been holding on the EMA and the highs a little bit better. Usually it'll just hold better, and it's clearly breaking back in, so that's what it's trying to do. And we got this, but I don't think it's good for a full 1 to 2 because you're shorting right into this channel low. You're shorting pretty low into this move. You have this to worry about if you extend the target too much. And so it's really just best to go for 1 to 1. This next bar opens, you can get out before any resistance here. And then anyway, we push lower. We have an overshoot of this channel, which leads to a break. Couple legs out. We're back out of the overnight again. And so this could be viewed as a bullish imbalance, which ends up starting this new uptrend here. And we push out. Price holds onto the EMA. There's nothing perfect here yet. And we have this measured move, and so when you get the swing, you put the measured move to the swing and see where it's at, and that takes us to this trade. So this trade was partially based on the fact that we had this measured move in play, and I kind of wish I went for 1 to 2 because if you draw these highs, it's like it does make a double. It does make a double top, basically. It wasn't to the tick. But that was why I didn't go for 1 to 2, was because of that double top. But we had a bullish imbalance. It was, we getting this uptrend starting, and then it's holding pretty well above the highs here. So I think maybe I should have just done it, gone for 1 to 2. I had a measured move in play that I was expecting, and it was holding good. So anyway, but I think ultimately, if you really aren't sure, I think you should just limit in the target. That's what I would say. But anyway, so when we get this entry here, I didn't want to enter on this one right here because it was like a rush below the EMA, many bear bars, and then we're below the EMA. I just didn't want to take that. I like this higher low because we were actually closing above the EMA. And one thing I considered was putting my stop below the full swing and then increasing my target to match 1 to 1, but then I would have to push far outside of the this resistance here, and so I decided to just keep the regular stop, but of course also the smaller target. That's the downside. But I just wanted room, so that's what I did. But anyway, so then we have these lows, these highs. It bounces off the high. That basically confirms the channel. We don't have 3 touches here off either side, but when you draw it off one side and then you draw it and you drag it to the other side and then it holds on the other side, then it's probably valid. So, but anyway, we get this smaller channel inside of it, and so after this trade, we push up, we form this bigger channel. You draw those lows, the highs match, and then we get a slight overshoot of the main channel as well as a overshoot of this smaller channel here. And we get a 2-legged break, so we break out, but then we have 2 almost measured legs. They're not quite measured, but they're clearly relative in size to one another. And once again, we are still in a breakout. We did reach the measured move at this point. It's very possible to just plummet down at this point, which does eventually happen. But for the meantime, we were getting a 3rd bounce off of this channel here. So it's an uptrend getting a 3rd bounce, and then we finally closed back above the EMA. I was not very happy with it closing below the EMA like that because I was thinking, what if we reach this measured move and then just plummet? So we ended up holding back above the EMA. We have this double bottom now, and I just wanted to get out before those highs. So this honestly looks pretty good to me because we have the main uptrend. It's off this smaller one inside, 2-legged break of this short-term uptrend, and yeah, that looks really good. And then you just get out before the highs. And so Anyway, then we plummet back down. So we plummet back down. That channel doesn't hold here, so we don't get a third bounce. And we go all the way back down into the range. And so, by the time we get a correction, we're already, testing the range highs again. Kind of like the opposite of a breakout pullback already. So we pull back in. We test the EMA. The EMA holds. I don't see a great trade there. I don't really see anything great because, one, you are already closing back above the range highs, so that's not a good thing. But then here, this is really the next kind of entry spot. That's just way too big. That's just way too big for me, so I didn't really want to take that. But we do end up getting this. It's like a failed second entry from here, because on a short term, you can see that we have a count reset. But on a big picture, it's just like, that's just a lower high after the main failed second entry. On a big picture, this is the failed second entry. I'll show you here. First entry long, second entry long, failure. And then that's just a lower high. But like I mentioned, remember how over here, or where this short, I was saying I don't like 1 to 2 on it because it's into all this resistance and shorting low. Also, most of this move right here is already taken up. It's halfway taken up, and then by the time you get to the resistance, you get to the end of the measured move. This right here, you still have a lot of measured move in play, and you're playing the range at that point, because at this point it's like, yeah, you're kind of staying within the measured move, you're staying within the resistance, but here, and then also of course you have this bigger downtrend right here that is also in the way. But if you draw the same for over here, you would barely just have it, and you'd be able to have a lot more room to it. So I think that looks pretty good for 1 to 2, and yeah, I like that. And we push down. We don't quite reach the lows, but I'll draw this. I should have kept this drawn. We don't quite have a perfect entry here, but we do have this range. We form a range, and then just a congestion range, and then we break out. Most breakouts fail, but I would be expecting it to possibly want to test down here, so I would be worried about that, especially considering it's not a perfect setup either. Because it's not a perfect setup, the context isn't perfect, and then also, like I drew before, we could have something like this. It's just, it's not perfect, but it does work out. It works out pretty well. We are near the lows, so it's not too unexpected that it worked out, but we rush above the EMA, we get this higher low, and when I thought of this higher low was, it's like, it's kind of congestive. I would rather it be a failed second entry because this downtrend hasn't played out. It's just not a perfect setup because we have downtrend, break, and that's really just first attempt at a new low, and then second attempt is all the way up here, and then there's not much room. So I just don't see anything perfect in here, nothing I would be too confident in. But yeah, we do get this measured move here. We drag it down to here. It didn't quite reach it, but we got this attempt here to reach it, second attempt to reach it. But yeah, I marked this area right here. I didn't take anything here because it wasn't quite perfect, but there's not enough room is the problem with it. But we're expecting this second leg to be reached. We're expecting it to reach this measured move, and then you kind of get this failed second entry, but it is choppy. It's a little bit hard to see. Clearly, we're moving in the direction of the measured move. We're making this higher low here, and then another higher low, and another higher low, another higher low. And then it's kind of like a failed second entry. You can see this first leg up here, and then a two-legged break. I'll draw it to show. So like uptrend, and then this two-legged break. And so then we can expect it to possibly reach the measured move. But there's just not enough room. It looks like a good setup, but I don't think it's good because there's no room. But as a setup, it looks okay. You just don't have room. That's my point I'm trying to make. But yeah, so we don't reach it. We plummet back in, go congestive. We almost make symmetry. If you ever see stuff plummet down really fast or spike up really fast, you could get a symmetrical move. So, usually whenever you see perfect symmetry, it's because of very, very sharp moves. But anyway, so We push back out of the overnights, then we push back below, lower high is already closing back above, failed second entry is closing at the very low of this move, and it's not horrible congestion, but it's not ideal, especially with the fact that you're shorting so low here. I don't really see anything else here. Nothing perfect. But yeah, I guess we're at the end of the video here, so that's probably going to do it for this video. Where was that? There we go. Alright, so yeah, that's going to do it for the video, and y'all have a good day.